How's it going, Beetroot Munchers? We've already done how to set up properly for bench press, and today we're doing how to set up properly for the back squat. From clients to general peasants I see training, there's so many people that just do not set up properly for back squats, and fundamentally it's going to be really hard for you to perform your lift at its best if you've just not been set up properly in the first place and you're already putting yourself 1-0 down.
It's a bit of a weird analogy.
So I'm just going to go through some pretty simple things that you need to make sure are like the blunt birds you see on a night out and get them absolutely nailed. And just a reminder that if you do enjoy and understand the way that I explain things, that you've got my free Gainsplaining guide available to download in the description below. A Moron's Guide to Gainsplaining is going to break down all your essential gym terminology that you hear on a daily basis from clowns like me and just explain it in the most simple terms possible so that you can fully comprehend everything. And then there's also stuff in there about how to apply these principles into your own training, and as I said, it's totally free to download, so you've got nothing to lose and you can go one click, get it downloaded. The feedback from it is that it's been a pretty easy and good read, so why don't you find out for yourself? First off the bat, if you're wondering where's best to squat, whether it's in the rack, outside of the rack, or maybe on free stands, there isn't really a right or wrong or better or worse, and I'm just a proponent for you just doing whatever you feel most comfortable. And I do personally like squatting in the rack, and I do think it's probably slightly better for most people because you can have safety bars set up and just give you that peace of mind. If you want to squat outside of the rack, that's totally cool. However, for the purposes of this video today, I'm going to be just doing everything outside of the rack just so it's easier for you to see. Now, first thing we're going to look at is the height of the hooks and where you're going to be taking the bar out from, because we don't want to take it out too high because you're just not going to be able to get enough purchase to actually be able to like leverage the bar up. And we also don't want it too low where your first rep is basically a half squat, because that's just going to just be very inefficient on your energy. Easy rule of thumb to work off: have the hooks at shoulder height. That's more or less going to put you in a position when you get under the bar, you're able to actually get a little bit knee bend to lift up and over the hooks, but not do it too excessively where you're just wasting energy. Next, as we approach the bar and get set up, please, for the love of God, do not rush and just take your time. See this when the bar's already on the hooks? This is a free hit to get set up in whatever way you want. And what so many people do is they'll rush and they'll just kind of chuck the bar on their back any old way. They'll walk out with this big fuck off weight on their back, and then they'll start like trying to readjust when you're having to actually wrestle with a big massive weight. The bar is literally weightless here, so you've got a free hit. Just take your time, put a little bit of thought into it, and this is where you should just be getting everything inch perfect as it can be. So what does that look like? Well, first of all, we've got your hand position, because obviously the first thing you're going to do is grab the bar. Now, I don't have like a set point that I tell people to put their hands on the bar. I'm just happy for them to go wherever's comfortable, whether it be narrow or wide, I don't really care. What you do need to make sure, however, is that your hands are even. So it's not like you've got like one over here on the line and then one here in the middle. The reason that happens is because people just kind of like just grip the bar like this and just not really look and then just go to do their set. Take your fucking time and get set up, and what you're always good to use is your fingers and thumbs and lines on the bar as like markers. Just as a little example, what you can do is you can go a thumb length from the center knurling. So just as an example, what you can do is go a thumb length from the shiny bit of the bar in the middle there, and then you know that that's you pretty much even, and then you just grip on the bar like so and get yourself set up. It could even be pinkies on the line, it can be whatever, but just actually use tangible markers to get your hands even. Next thing after we've got our hand set is we're going to be putting our head underneath the bar. And I'm going to sound like Coach Robbie here, but you need to make sure your head's centre.
Head centre, don't let him come up to take your back. Keep your head centre.
It's pretty pointless having your hands even if your head's all the way off to one side, because that's just going to throw you off squint. Once again, take your time. You should be starting to come under the bar like square on, and you've obviously got this centre knurling here as a bit of a marker. So you should be following that under, and you should probably be able to feel from your shoulders and your arms and everything if you're actually centre. And we want our head to be right in the middle of the bar. And if your squat rack's facing the mirror, then that's just another tool that you can use to actually just look and see if you're actually straight. Elbow position is another thing that's going to vary person to person. So some people will pull their elbows back like this. Some people like to have them tucked a little bit more under. It's just one of those things that's going to be more person to person dependent. In terms of where the bar is going to be sitting on your back, it's probably going to vary to each person, but it should be somewhere on the tops of your shoulders here. So that's like the top of my shoulder bone, and this is my traps. And that's where the bar is sitting and that's just where I want to be. It's just like a nice little shelf for me. You don't want to be holding it in the air and like on your neck like that, because you're just not going to be able to hold that. And likewise, when it starts to come down past your shoulders, that's where it's kind of turning into a low bar squat, and that's a slightly different technique which I would have to explain in a separate video, so that might be something that's coming soon. So if you find this useful, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss whenever I do that one. Something that's tied into your elbows a little bit, and what you'll hear is a common cue when you're doing back squats, is pinch your shoulder blades together. And what that does is that creates a tension in your back and just obviously lifts your chest up so that you're in a nice sort of strong position. Now, following the rule of this is a free hit when the bar's set up like this, we want to try and create as much tension as possible when the bar's just sat sedentary here. It's going to be a lot easier to pinch those shoulder blades back and hold that position, rather than don't really do it too much, walk out with the weight, and then you're standing here with a shit ton of weight on your back and then have to try and do it. So we want to try and get set up as early as possible. So when I come under the bar here, I lift my head and my chest up, pinch my shoulder blades back, and for a lot of people that might look like pulling their elbows back too. Some people can do it just with their elbows kind of neutral to them. And now I've got that tension here, I'm straight, my head's up. I would then just pop my knees. And then I need to go and help my dad empty the car. The last thing, and this is probably the biggie, and that is the walkout. And there is literally only one way that you should be taking the bar out, and I'm going to tell you straight away what it's not. It's not getting set up here and walking forward. When you've got a heavy weight on your back, you're not going to be able to like bend your knees like you're marching down the street. You're going to keep your legs straight and just let your skeleton do the work. And I'm not quite sure how to describe this, but it's going to be a lot easier for you, and you just need to try this. Just stand up in your room and do it just now. Straighten your legs and don't bend them, and try and like walk forward and try and walk back. So much easier walking back the way. And especially if you're putting the bar back as well when you're tired, you don't want to be having to walk back and like trying to like hook it in. There you go. I didn't even actually put the bar back right. Just total carnage. We're always going to be walking backwards, and what we don't want to do is when we take the bar out, we don't want to take a million different steps, because again, the more steps you take, the more you're going to waste energy, the more room for error there is. And we want to try and keep things efficient as possible. So what you're going to do, you're going to make sure that when you lift the bar up, you've got your feet even together. You're going to lift the bar up, and then you're going to take 4 steps. You're going to take one foot and take a small step backwards. Your second foot is then going to follow. You're then going to take one foot out to the side and one foot out to the other side. And that should be you pretty much good to go. Sometimes you might need to make a little bit of adjustment just to get right in the position that you want, but it shouldn't be like taking about 18 different wiggles and steps and toe turns. Like the first 4 steps should take you pretty much within the ballpark. That is you set up for the perfect squat when you don't choose to skip leg day. Some of this stuff might seem pretty basic, but you just cannot perform your lift at its best if you're not getting set up properly. So we take care of that first, and then you can start to focus on all the other technical elements of your lifts. Hope you found this useful. Make sure hit the like and subscribe if you aren't already, and if you definitely aren't already, go and get me followed on Instagram where all my daily content goes, and you'll get more videos like this, as well as client results and just general carnage. Free Gainsplaining guide is there for you to download below too, so make sure to go and check that out. And obviously, if you do want the full Boona, then coaching inquiry form is down below as well. Leave it there, catch you later.